Yeah, they're like there's like settings in them. So like when you go into a practice space, when they shut, the newer ones, not the old ones, when they shut, it's sound locking, and you can make yourself sound like you're in a cathedral hall or you're in a small auditorium, or you can make it like super dry, and then it hurts your feelings because every note you play sounds really bad. And then you can record yourself too in there. Except if you don't delete it, whoever goes in next can listen to what you recorded.
So in theory, you could leave like a crazy note for somebody. God,
or just a really bad practice take that
the
you don't
possibilities
ever,
here.
you don't want ever anyone to hear that.
I just come in there with my kazoo, and I'm just like,
I have an electric kazoo.
And what? How is it electric? That feels like way too much voltage that next close to your face.
I kid you not. It has like the
amp
quarter inch
jack?
Yeah. I jokingly said, I think this was like 2 years ago. One of my students, which I teach privately, violin, violoncello. One of my students was asking me like, what do you want for your birthday or like Christmas? And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. You don't have to get me anything. And they had just gotten an electric kazoo at the place that I work at. And it was like a joke. And I said, oh, I would love one. And like literally the next lesson, they were like, I got you the electric kazoo.
What? I don't even... Okay.
I've been trying to convince MUELAS to let me have an electric kazoo solo in the middle of the set. I have a violin solo, and I'm like, let me do an electric kazoo solo through like a Boss distortion pedal.
Yeah, like the distortion on a kazoo. I mean, that'd be sick. I mean, like, can you imagine like reverb on a kazoo and like, oh my gosh.
Slap a whammy on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, okay. Editor, please put a photo of what an electric kazoo looks like, because I'm looking this up directly afterwards. Because I don't see, is it the same like shape as a kazoo?
You just got the cord at the end of it. Unless, if you want to get fancy with it, get like a wireless to like, so you can mosh and kazoo at the same time.
Okay, so it's like a kazoo and the wire's kind of coming out the front. That makes somewhat more sense. That feels like you're blowing. That feels like you're blowing into an amp. That just feels like you're just blowing an amp. That's what it feels like. I'm gonna be honest. Are we ready to get into it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Sweet. Welcome everybody to the Creators Table Podcast. I'm your host Tyler Watson, and we're here with Susy of the band MUELAS. Give it a little round of applause.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's good. It's good weather today. It's kind of like it's March 1st.
It's hot.
Yeah.
Randomly.
You think it's hot?
From what it was the week prior, yeah.
This is true.
Yeah, and like our practice space is in Atlanta, and when it's hot, it gets so sweaty. It's really gross down there.
Are you guys like outside for the practice space? Or?
No. We practice at a place called Big House Guitars. Ooh. And they actually have a bunch of practice spaces for artists and studio artists down there. Yeah.
In Midtown or like kind of?
It's off 85. I'm trying to think where exactly it's close to. I'm kind of bad with directions, but if you look up Big House Guitars, it's there.
We'll look it up. Put the exact address, just.
Yeah, put my schedule. No, just kidding.
Okay,
No.
When they'll be there? No.
No.
Put something fake. Well, you've been in the band for a minute now. You guys have been together for a while. Why don't you talk about the start of the band and your role in the band?
So, funny enough, the band's not even a year old.
Hey, but it's like it's not like the yesterday's like garage band.
Yeah. So
you have three. If for having 3 songs out in only a year span, it's pretty impressive.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Yeah, so the band is kind of like the predecessor of the band, what it used to be. It was a band called Nowhere Safe.
Okay.
And Nowhere Safe had been around for a hot minute. It's actually how I met the rest of my bandmates. So it's me, James came in. They both play guitar. James does backup vocals and guitar. And then bassist is Chris. And then our drummer is Moose. And
what
Moose,
a great Moose.
I love him.
Great
Musashi.
drummer name.
He's actually the drummer of Big Yellow too. So if you know Big Yellow, you know Moose. And when I had met them, it was right before COVID. I knew of their band because like they were pretty established and well known in the area.
Right.
Especially in East Atlanta, Little 5 Points, all that great alternative, awesome scene in Atlanta, and they had been recording for a bit, and I met them right before COVID hit. I was their photographer. So I don't do it too much anymore just because I wear a lot of hats. I do a lot of stuff. But before COVID, I was shooting a lot of shows. I did a couple music videos. I was also doing like a lot of just band artist portrait shoots. Yeah. And James had found me through Instagram and hit me up and was like, hey, my band know we're safe. We need a band photo shoot. And I met them and they were so nice. So nice. And at that point, I was still here. I was studying music and I was going to shows a lot. And so I've heard of them. But we really just like hit it off and we stayed friends, and then COVID happened. And then in 2022, I had exited from a previous band that I was in. But I still was doing music because I do music professionally, freelancing, studio gigs. I'm a violinist. And then I'm also a mariachi. We talked about it. I have a mariachi band.
Absolutely.
And then I have another band that's like alternative, jazzy kind of stuff. So I wear lots of different hats.
So yeah, you're all over the place.
Yeah, pretty much, mentally and physically. So, but when I had exited, Cayman, the guitarist, he kept cornering me, not in a bad way, but he.
I hope not in a bad way.
No, he was very adamant of like, hey, when are we gonna play music together? And he knew that I had just exited, and so in his eyes, I had a lot more free time.
You're like, okay, so you're like looking for a job, right?
And Nowhere Safe was ending, not because of anything bad. Their drummer was moving to Florida, and instead of continuing the band, they kind of wanted it to, let it be, put a timestamp on it, start something new. And for their last EP, they had hired me to do their album cover, and it was a really fun concept. So the city of Marietta was hounding me to get rid of this broken down shed in the back of my house.
In the back of your house,
there's this like really weird shed that I've had for years. It's just been back there, and during a storm it completely like fell apart, but it was still standing, and it wasn't up to city code. I get it. And they were just like, hey, we really need you to get rid of this. But I told the band, I was like, how about I give y'all sledgehammers and I do a time lapse of y'all completely destroying this shed.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
And it's like a win-win situation,
It's like a rage room, but outside, and it's your old shed.
Exactly. And so I set up my tripod, and for an hour, I was just time-lapsing them all going around the shed, like beating the crap out of it.
Awesome.
It was so fun. I mean, my mom showed up at one point, and I let her take a swing.
How long did it take down this shed?
It was a good hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
It was like a good hour.
Are we talking like straight, like all the way to the ground?
Yes.
Wow.
All the way to the ground. Yeah.
Did you guys burn it or something?
I did later. Big old bonfire.
Really? Do they? Yeah, interesting.
I mean, I don't know if they do, but I did.
Well, it was already burnt. They're like, well, you wanted the shed gone.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I burned it to the ground.
And we were hanging out my back patio, and that's where for that EP, I had recorded violin for their anti-cop song, and it was a Bella Ciao medley. They had their last single that they released was called Violence, and Bella Ciao, if you know the history behind it, it's a very...
I know the song, but I don't know the
history. Yeah. It was very much an anti-fascist theme from Italy. And so when I recorded the violin on it, that was the first time that Cayman and I were hanging out, not just as friends or like going to a show. It was the first time where we were collabing. And we had a great time. We had a really great time. We realized that we were pretty much on the same wavelength with ideas and stuff and like vision. And so fast forward, we were hanging out on my patio, we were eating pizza, and Cayman just goes, so we're starting this band, right? And I looked at him and James, and
He saw the potential. He was like, seize the opportunity.
yeah, he kept telling me in the other interviews we've had, he's like, I was just trying to scoop up Susy before anybody else got to them. And I was like, oh, thank you for you to think that highly of me. But in that band, it was James, Cayman, and Chris. They were already in the band together. And I've been wanting to start a project like this for a long time. I've just, like I previously said, I wear a lot of hats, and I never really had like the opportunity to start it. And this really was kind of the perfect time for me. I had just ended a really long era. It was my last year of my 20s, and I've been through a lot of stuff, and it really felt like I was like closing a chapter and starting something new. I know that sounds a little, but that's how I felt. And James, Cayman, and Chris just were like, we can be your band. Like, we would love to be your band. And the drummer, Nick, was like, yeah, like, I'm moving to Florida, and so I was like, oh, okay. And Cayman was like, cool, you free Saturday? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, great. First band practice.
Get started.
Yeah, and
wow.
I was like, oh, okay. And I was so nervous just because I'm so used to being like the side character in a band, violinist.
Right.
I've done like heavier vocals through the bands that I've previously been in, and like have done features here and there for other homies. Like I've done features for Apostle. I've done features for our friends in the band Harm, and so it wasn't like new to me, this genre. This is really more of my bread and butter of what I listen to. But it was my first time really being like the front person.
Right.
And
front vocals? Is this your first time as that too?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like front vocals, like I'm kind of like, I'm the front person. For my mariachi band, we have two main people. I'm one of the main vocalists and violinist. And then we have Alejandro Cifuentes, and he's the main violist and male vocalist.
What
in
a
the
great
band.
name.
I know.
That just sounds great.
You know what's funny? My mariachi band started in the room over there.
Really?
Yeah.
In that the big hall or whatever?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we all met here, and there is I forgot what fraternity it was, but they had hired a mariachi band, and it fell through. And they just happened to be friends with Alejandro. And so Alejandro kind of put out like the Hispanic bat signal, and like like the majority of all the Hispanic
What would be
students.
the signal?
Yeah. I have no idea. A Mexican hootie hoo owl? I don't know. I don't, put a little sombrero hat on it or something like that,
Actually.
But I've been doing that for a while, and I've performed for, since I was like 15.
You seem to be no stranger to performances or the musical, creative art or creative pathway at all.
Thanks, yeah. But outside of the stage, I'm kind of a nervous anxiety wreck.
Interesting.
But something happens when I go on stage where I just like lock in. And but this was the first time where I was really being vulnerable.
Well, it's like maybe everybody's watching you.
Yeah.
Right? Like I kind of like envision like let's say you're doing theater or something. There's you might not be the front person, right? Mm-hmm. But there's all these other people on stage, and I don't know how it is for people in theater, I guess, to be fair. Yeah. But I imagine it's a little bit easier because you can kind of just phase in with the other people who are in the background.
Yeah.
Right?
I was in the opera program.
Right.
And so, when we would do roles with that, the majority of the time you would have someone with you. But there's something so different about heavier alternative music where you're performing. Yeah.
Yeah, you really are.
And it's not that all the other performance I've done haven't made me nervous in a way, but this is my first time allowing myself to like fully just have a cathartic release on stage every time we perform, and really speak about things that I've gone through, grief, political trauma, just the stuff that I've experienced, not only as a person, but also as a non-binary queer, like child of Mexican immigrants. And so all of those experiences, this is really like my first time where I get to be so direct about it. And so
like you're kind of making the brand, right?
Yeah. And when we met up, I told them straight up, I was like, I'm nervous. And then they also told me like, yeah, we're also like nervous, really excited, and we kind of realized that night it was just me, Chris, James, and Cayman. Moose hadn't entered the picture yet. That we were all really excited to work with each other because we all really admired each other as not only people but like musicians and talent. And so after that band practice, I remember coming home and I told my fiance, like, I guess I'm in another band now, and I'm leading it, you know. And but that's how it started. It really came in kind of pushing me, but in a good way, because I was scared, just because it's tough to be vulnerable and let it all out, but I really needed it.
Well, in specific genre you're going into, I mean, like, I think it's funny. So one of my first concerts I ever went to was an old country band.
Oh,
old
really?
country band, and there's no pizzazz. It's just an old dude strumming a guitar. And even with this one, they're an old country band.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude was wandering around stage. You were kind of concerned at certain parts, like, is he okay? Like, does he not just need to go take? Like, at one point, they're like, he's gonna go take a break, and we were like,
okay,
cool.
Okay, yeah.
But country, that's you can kind of just sit there and perform. Nobody's expecting anything else out of you. But like with hardcore and punk, it seems like of all the shows that I've seen, whether in person or from just videos, it's like there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Like it's chaotic, and I think that's kind of why some people love it.
Yes.
Right.
No, exactly. There's, in my opinion, one of the best bands, and this is a lot of really cool bands have come out of Atlanta. But when I was growing up, The Chariot, I don't know if you've ever heard of that band.
I have not.
They were huge in the Atlanta heavy mathcore, chaotic hardcore scene. And you got to look them up because Josh Goggin and all of them, in my opinion, is probably the most cathartic, chaotic, insane live performance I've ever seen in my life. Like there's a video where the bassist straight up, he jumps so fast into the crowd that it looks like he's like Jesus walking on water, but he's just walking on people's heads from the way that he launches himself. That band was really one of my first exposures to this kind of music.
Right.
And in the way of how it is live, because the band that really started my whole journey into heavier music was actually a visual K band called Duran Gray. They're from Japan, and their lead singer Kyo is insane. I mean, there's some videos where he would be cutting his cheek and spitting into the crowd and blood and stuff, and but I never got to see them live until they came to the Coca-Cola Roxy. I was in middle school.
Oh, yeah.
And so I remember going to that. I wasn't supposed to, but I made it in. And that was my first time where I felt the crowd moving, and you were just I was small. Me and my cousins were probably the youngest ones there, and just being moved around and picked up, the energy was just insane. And when I was older and I started listening to bands like Botch and The Chariot and bands like Converge, and there's just something so special about the heavier scene and the way it is live. Not only is the music amazing studio, but you don't really fully experience it until it's fully live. But they're giving it their all every show.
Right.
There's not a show where they're going in and half-assing it. It's no, this could
all
be the
in.
last show, yeah. And that's how I like to be and perform. And
Absolutely.
But it takes not only a level of confidence, but it takes a level of courage in the sense of letting yourself get to that point. Mm-hmm. And although I was such a performer growing up, I always was pretty reserved. I was in my bubble. But this is the first time where I'm allowing myself to reach those levels of release and anger that I have never been able to, even in my youth. And that to me is super special. So I was nervous because I knew what I was going to get into, and I knew that if this band was going to be what I wanted to be, I have to be fully in it. I can't just half-ass it. And I have these great friends and musicians who really liked my idea and the concept and the messages that I want to portray. And they're willing to back me up. And like, it's been so collaborative ever since we started. And it hasn't been long. It's crazy how much stuff we've gotten to do. We're super lucky and super grateful too. I never thought everything like even our first show, which was debuted we headlined our own debut show at the Masquerade at Alter. Like, what?
I'm really like putting together a lot of things we've talked about, and like, because I didn't really understand a year, because like a lot of things you said, I was like, oh, they've been around for a minute, and then he said 5 interviews in a year.
Yeah, every time we're like, oh my gosh.
I mean, I've interviewed people who've been artists for multiple years, and they've never been interviewed.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, we're very overwhelmed in a good way with the response. And after that first show, we had really sick bands. Like, we had Tunnels play. We love Tunnels. Split Silk was on it, and then we had Big Yellow on it. And
lots of shout-outs.
Yeah, it was Father's Day too, and I thought maybe a couple people will show up, like our friends, you know. And for me, even if because I've played shows where there's been no one in the audience. And
that's got to be hard for
I'll
that
still
genre.
be whipping that violin around. Like in previous bands I've been in, I don't care. There was one show I played in Dallas, not a single person showed up. I took my wireless violin and I was just moshing by myself in the middle, you know, running around.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
So like the size of the crowd doesn't really matter to me. It was more so like, wow, we get to debut. And then all of a sudden, when it was our turn to go out there, it was packed. And me being who I am, I was like, if you're here and it's Father's Day, I'm your dad now. I guess you have daddy issues because you're here.
Yeah, welcome everybody with no father.
I'm your
today.
papa now. You know? But that just felt like it was like a launching point into it. But it's been really cool. I didn't get to say how Moose came into it, but the drummer, Musashi, we've been friends for about 10 years now. And Moose didn't really know James, Cayman, and Chris. So like kind of like worlds collided when we brought him. Moose and I have been in another band called City Playgrounds, which is led by Aldo Cardenas, and he also went to school music here.
Sweet, Casey.
I'll never forget him showing me like a demo in one of the practice rooms I talked about. And so we started there, and Moose is so sick. He's like the coolest drummer ever. He also raps and like produces and stuff. And we were having a City Playgrounds rehearsal, and he had asked me like, "Hey, how's MUELAS going?" And I was like, "Oh, it's going really good. We're struggling to pin down a drummer." And James, the guitarist, is a drummer for so many bands. He was like, let me be guitar. Yeah, he's like, I don't want to drum for this. And he's in another band called Psychic Death, which shout out to Psychic Death. They're super, super dope. And I had just mentioned that to Moose, and Moose goes, yeah, man, you know, I'd be interested. And I was like, why didn't you tell me? I would have gotten you from the start.
Yeah, like Moose, forever ago, yeah.
Right, because Moose would have been like my first choice. I love Moose to death. He's such a, like, there's a vibe when he plays. And to me, I used to be a drummer. That was my first instrument before I swapped over to like the string land.
To violin.
Okay. I know. And so for me, what captivates me in a band really is the rhythm section. It's my favorite. Drums.
Bread and butter, yeah.
Oh yeah, so good. And I've just always loved the way Moose drums and his style. And so we brought him in for a practice, and the first debut single we have is called Glass Smile. And that was the first fully written out song. And we showed Moose, and Moose was like, I don't know, that might be a little too technical. He was a little worried about it, and came in and was like, dude, it's hardcore. We don't give up. You just, whatever you want. Like, as long as you vibe with us and you like it, that's all we care about. We don't care about technique. And he crushed it. And it's just been like a perfect fit. And so ever since then, like the debut show, we've done a lot of stuff. It's crazy. The last show we played was that pizza shop.
Well, and pizza shop, great location, must say.
Yes.
Pizza shop. I mean, just eating pizza and then listening to hardcore.
Yeah, the owner
Our pizzas
was really
just flying
nice.
everywhere.
I wish. Listen, I had a goal to eat a slice of pizza during the middle of the set, and I forgot. And in the middle of the set, I said, I forgot to order my pizza.
I will say, but like, Man, you had to down that piece of pizza fast. I mean, to be fair, I'm like, I would have maybe next time.
Yeah.
Get the pizza one next.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about, you've brought up kind of, drum is your first instrument, but also violin. Now, I, for one, when I hear violin and hardcore, I'm like, explain how that even works. Because I know you have an electric violin is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which is a cool thing in its own. It's very unique. Or it's very niche, I guess.
Yeah.
Tell us about you playing violin and when you realized that could be something you could use for your band right now.
Yeah. So I started playing violin. I was a huge weeb growing up.
Oh.
And believe it or not, Inuyasha and Legend of Zelda are some
Is
of the
violin
reasons.
a weeb thing?
No, but the music.
Okay.
They had a lot of string stuff in their
Oh, yeah.
music. And there's another anime called Black Cat that had a lot of opera in it. And there's another anime called Elfenlied that the main title track had an opera track. And it
So
was
you wanted to
strings.
play all these really nice soundtracks.
Yeah,
like
and
that,
honestly, like that was my way of introducing myself into the classical world. I've always gravitated towards it. Like my mom had this like little leapfrog thing where it was
Love
like
the leapfrog.
music, like learn orchestra and band instruments. And this is embarrassing, but towards the end of it, there's a button where it would play the Star Spangled Banner. But it was a
Sick.
But it was a full symphony. And I straight up, my mom took it away from me because I would be like, da, 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 da. I just kept playing it over and over
That's
again.
awesome.
And I just liked all the sounds. Like the sounds was just like,
Oh, we gotta find that leapfrog and like get
I
you a
know.
new one, and like that would be a great sample,
right?
right? Oh man.
And but I also loved heavy music. All my cousins, we were all like old emo alternative kids, and my 5th grade photo cracks me up because I'm wearing like a choker,
Yeah,
a Full
I was about to
Metal
say.
Alchemist hoodie with an Inuyasha shirt. I had like the panda eyeliner on, and I had like just like
great.
the long hair. I was so angsty.
So emo, so aggressively emo.
But I was really into like bands like Rammstein and Duran Gray, and then Job for a Cowboy and Suicide Silence. Like I've always just really liked heavy music because it's just loud and angry. And
Yeah.
what's better for an angsty little teen,
Not the
tween.
after choker number 1 for emo, and then
Yeah.
no, I'm kidding.
So I was playing along those two worlds for the longest time. And when I was playing violin in high school, I was a violist first. Well, let me get back. I started drums when I was 6.
Okay.
And by the time I got to high school, I was really like into viola and violin, and I had decided that I wanted to go down this route, not only as like a hobby, but professionally.
Yeah.
And so I quit drums, which is the dumbest decision I could have ever made. I miss it so much. I used to play like Evanescence and Under Oath songs, and like I'm gonna toot my own horn. I was pretty good. Now
You can go back to it.
I can kind of blast beat. For my degree, you had to learn every instrument, and we were taking like jazz drums, and I just started going digga, 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 digga. But when I got to later on in high school, and I was like, okay, I wanna go to school for music. I wanna be a violinist. And I also want to be an opera singer, but I
Yeah.
wanted to teach orchestra because my orchestra director, Dr. K, she's at North Cobb. We're homies
Okay.
still.
Okay.
She really inspired me and was like, you have a lot of, like, I think you would be a great performer and educator. And then Dr. Foster, who's the choral director, she's since passed, but she was really... I didn't sing until I was like 17, and then I discovered that I could kind of sing opera. And she like put a flyer in front of me. She was like, "Hey, you're auditioning for the Atlanta Opera High School Institute." And I was like, "Huh?"
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And I had kind of sang with my mariachi band not my mariachi band, but my family's restaurant that used to be here. All of KSU, anyone who graduated from KSU before it was gone would be like, I loved that restaurant.
Wait, your family had a restaurant on KSU property?
Chastain.
on Chastain.
On
Okay.
Chastain.
So
It was
close to
called Los
KSU.
Reyes, yeah.
Okay.
And we
Wow.
had a mariachi band every weekend. And so
Oh, that's
I was
sick.
just constantly surrounded by music. Like
Yeah.
music was my life. But like it really was. And so once I came to KSU, around there, I started seeing people that I would see at shows at Swayze's. And Swayze's is no longer around. If you ever say Swayze's, and there's like, I guess I'm considered an old head now. They'll either be like, oh, or, oh. It was a very interesting music venue. But that was like the last time Cobb County had a venue where like bands would come through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point, yeah.
So when I was like in high school, I'd be sneaking out, going to these like little local shows and like seeing all these bands and like screamo, emo bands and stuff. But then I would be here and performing in the classical world. And I got hit up by a long time ago, friends at that time, and were like, hey, I really want violin on this track that I'm playing. And it was like an alternative track. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And then that just kind of started spiraling into kind of what's become now, where really I'm not the only one doing it.
Yeah, it's not like you didn't invent it.
I didn't invent it. There's a really cool band called Juan Bon Band, and they were one of the first bands like that I took notice, aside from like what I was doing, that also had an electric violinist in it. And I was like, this is sick.
I used to follow somebody online who did just videos of electric violin, and like they would do covers of like heavy rock songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, this is kind of sick.
And then there's the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you ever hear like symphonic rock, almost like wizardy style.
That's kind of like, maybe that's a good like, it's like I don't know if that's necessarily the middle ground between straight up classical to hardcore.
What I do now.
Right.
But it was along the pathway.
Yeah, I was like, you pass by that when you go through.
Yeah, when I was younger, because that was the first time I saw an electric violin. My parents took me. We were pretty close. And when the pyrotechnics went off, I swear I didn't have eyebrows. Like it was that close to my face.
Yeah, because you like the big old flames and stuff like that. Yeah.
And so when I started playing in bands, I also met Amber. We became friends. Amber is the violinist for Dallas. The Callous Dow Boys.
Is that the Callous Dow Boys?
That's what they're
Love
called,
that name.
Listen, they're huge.
Callous Dow Boys.
It's amazing to see how much they've done.
That's a great name.
You gotta look them up. I think they're still touring in Europe right now. They've done some crazy stuff. Like they've been on festivals with like Metallica. They were on the Chiodos run too. They just did a cruise where they were doing like shows.
Oh, like on a cruise ship?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Like a metal festival on a cruise ship.
Yeah. Wait, I could be wrong. Last time I went on a cruise, like the average age was like 60.
Oh no, it's like all packed out. It's really sick.
That's awesome.
I mean, every time
there probably is a 60-year-old who wanders down here like, this is kind of sick.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like that one friend you guys have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like every time I die, I would do these crazy shows on a boat. And Every Time I Die is a huge influence. They're from Buffalo, New York. And they would do these crazy shows on a boat, too. Like,
wow, that's kind of crazy.
Right. So for me playing just music in general, I started meeting a bunch of people and...
Connections, networking, yeah.
Yeah, and just, like, becoming friends with people. And I've always loved hardcore music. I've always loved heavy music. I've just loved music in general.
Yeah.
And when I started this band... I told them, I was like, I'm going to have to play violin in it, right? And they were like, please do it.
Yeah, that's so unique.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah.
And it's also really fun. But the bands that I was in previously where I would do like electric violin, it was sort of like my blanket. I would kind of hide behind it. Like I would be dancing on stage and like screaming my parts, but I always kind of like hid behind it.
Right.
So I did tell them, I was like, I want to incorporate my electric violin into it. One, because I play it. Why not? I think it sounds cool. But I don't want it to be like the main focal thing. But there's the band Speed. Do you know the band Speed?
I do not.
I see. Yeah. The vocalist has a flute solo in the middle of the hardcore
That's
set.
sick.
I love
awesome.
stuff like that. Like that's just so cool, And I really wanted to continue it because in the bands that I was in previously, I'd have people come up to me and be like, you make me want to play my violin again. Or like, I started playing violin because of you.
Because there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with it.
Yeah, and I'm an educator at heart. Like that to me was like, yes, because there's so much you can do with it. Like violin is not just this European classical instrument. I mean, you can find it in Indian classical music, mariachi, especially indigenous music all throughout Mexico. Like there's so much you can do with that instrument, and it adds such a cool layer to it, especially when you put pedals on it and you make it sound like a guitar.
Yeah, you're kind of used to just the acoustics of it, right? Now let's kind of talk about. You also sing with the band. Like violin is like one unique thing you bring to the band, but you also just being in the genre you guys are in. You have a really great voice, really great scream, is what I was.
Oh, thank you.
So how do you keep up that in like a live set? You're probably straining your vocals. Are you straining your vocals a lot? How do you keep yourself going?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. I like talking about this a lot.
Okay, well here you go.
So one, if you're straining to scream, you're technically kind of not doing it fully right.
Okay.
There is an art to it. There's the first time I ever heard that, oh, you can scream without it completely,
just draining
shredding your vocal cords. It was this lady that I came across online, and she has a DVD out, and it's called the Art of Screaming. But she was an opera singer who would coach metal bands.
What?
Yeah,
okay.
on how to scream properly.
And she had an educational DVD.
Yeah, I think it was the Zen of Screaming, something like that. And I had lots of friends who were like great, like harsh vocalists, and I was always like, how do you do that? Like I love that. Because when I was in 6th grade, I did a little screaming in the car. My mom would tell me to shut up, but I would do a little screaming on my own, but I didn't sound good. But when I started singing opera, that's how I connected both worlds, because I realized that a lot of the technique to keep yourself like healthy, it really is in your breath support and warming up and making sure that it's not just coming from the throat. Like fry screaming is hard. I don't fry scream because I suck at it. I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
There's one song where I kind of do it, but I use false chord screaming. So it really it comes from like growls and like guttural.
What's the difference between, you said fry screaming?
Yeah. Fry screaming, you kind of hear it a lot. To me, that's like the most popular. Kind of like if you hear like bands like Underoath and like Every Time I Die, that's like a break in your vocal folds where like that's where it kind of comes from. The kind of screaming I do, it kind of comes from like a growl. Like it's just like a deep growl. That to me came really easy. And I had asked my friend Maurice from the band Apostle, because that dude's vocals are insane. Oh my gosh, they're so heavy. And this was like 2017. I was like, hey Maurice, I kind of scream, but I don't know what I'm doing. But it doesn't hurt, and I can do it for hours, and my voice doesn't go away. And he was the one that was like, oh, you're kind of doing this kind of scream. I kind of do that. And so I just started practicing it more. But I saw like tips online from like just, I was doing the nerdy thing.
Yeah.
Like how to scream.
the wiki how to or whatever,
Yeah. Because like I really loved bands. Like I wrestled a bear once, and there was a like other cool band. Like right now, Spirit Box, like Corny. Corny was in I Wrestled a Bear once, I believe. Yeah. No, yeah. And Corny's vocals are insane. Like top tier right now. And it's just really cool to like see somebody who is femme be in that kind of space. And so when I was doing my whole journey of like kind of figuring out how to do it, a former partner had actually bought the DVD.
Oh, really?
And it was like, hey, I bought the DVD. I want to watch it because I want to better my vocals. And so they watched it. And I was like, how was it? Like, how, and I was like, do you think I should watch it? Because, like, I kind of want to get better at it. And they're like, honestly, it's all stuff you already know. And I was like, oh. And it was all the stuff from I learned here doing opera. A lot of breath support, diaphragm, making sure you're warming up, staying hydrated, taking it easy. Because the thing is, like, ultimately, you are damaging. You know what I mean? Like, ultimately,
right. It's not just something you should just continue doing on the entire day of everything.
Right,
week,
you know.
right.
But, for example, today, MUELAS had rehearsal for 4 hours. And
Yeah.
My voice is still here.
Yeah, you sound perfectly fine.
Thanks.
Yeah. I mean,
You know,
I was
and,
like, are you really prepared for a hour-long interview right after that? Right.
But yeah, like just learning the proper technique on how to sing is what helped me keep myself afloat when I'm screaming on top of it. It really has to do with your breath support. And with muelas, like I do pop into some singing here and there and belting too, just because I like it. It's what I hear, and I was like, oh, I want to add that. But one of my concepts was I wanted to bring some mariachi lyricism and some mariachi vocals into the hardcore.
Interesting. I'm like,
Right?
whoa, yeah.
I was like,
we're seeing it.
I was like, I don't know how to do it, but I was like, I kind of want to just like marry them and figure out how to do it. And that's why I really love my bandmates, because they're so down for anything. There's a song that we have out on Bandcamp. It's called Pesares. And that song has lyrics from my favorite mariachi song, which is called La Cigarra. It's a huapango. And if you're a music nerd, it's constantly alternating between 6/8 and 3/4 time signature. And so when you listen to that song, the vocals are so, like a cicada takes flight. The vocals
Right.
are very much like that. And
Right.
I knew that I wanted to somehow marry that into this band to just try something out,
What we were gonna bring up is, there's a lot of, the name is Spanish. The name of some of your songs are in Spanish. So is there a lot of influence that you guys like to try to push into your music in that sense?
Yeah, so for me, when I wanted to start this band for years, and there has been kind of like maybe like met up with a group of people like one or twice throughout the past like 10 years.
Right.
But nothing really came to fruition. And mariachi music is so special to me because that was my way of really connecting with my culture.
And you grew up listening to it a lot. Like
I grew up listening to it a lot, but growing up in the early 2000s here as a Hispanic was not the easiest.
Right. No. Yeah.
It was rough.
And you said you told me I hope this is totally fine with you. Bring up your parents were immigrants here as well. So like there's a lot of significance in that part of your aspect of your life, bringing that into your music, making your music a little bit more personable, something that people can relate to. And maybe there's people who are also Hispanic who are like, I want to get into the hardcore scene. Look, somebody who's has the same background as me is just like me.
Yeah, no, and like growing up, I was actually just telling my mom about this because I lost a lot of my Spanish when I was in middle school and high school. One, I kind of didn't really like talking in general.
Right.
I'm a very neurospicy person and did not understand how mentally ill I was and why I did the things I did and why I was the way I was. But I really was really reserved. But when you grow up Mexican American here, it's a very different experience from growing up in Mexico and then coming here. And it's not that I was ever ashamed. It was just very difficult to find the spaces to fully practice Spanish outside of my home.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people default to English because that's what's majorly spoken here. And I was just telling my mom the other day, because with everything currently happening, and we were just kind of talking about stuff, and I told her, I was like, yeah, I mean, I remember teachers would get mad at you, like literally would take you, like send you to the office if you were speaking Spanish. And I remember I had a couple friends who, when they would speak Spanish, they would get in trouble. Hey, you can't be speaking that. Like, you need to speak English. And it would always be because people are going to think you're talking about them. And I don't know what you're saying. And you could be saying something inappropriate. We all know why.
You could say the same thing about somebody who speaks an American Sign Language.
Right.
What are you gonna say to them in that situation?
We all clearly know where it's coming from. I mean, Kennesaw, before KSU, was not the most diverse place. I'm not talking about the university. I'm talking about the city itself.
Right.
I mean, in downtown Kennesaw, Wildman's. That thing still existed until, like, I think it's just now being shut down.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Right. And that's what we grew up around. I have a friend who we've been friends since high school. She told me, she was like, yeah, when my parents moved here, and she's black. She was like, there was a KKK rally when they pulled up.
I mean, we're talking like it's I think at least I can only say Georgia. Because my dad's kind of grown up in like a lot of the same area, like a long time. And there's some sad history, even as close as just when he was a kid around here, which, that 40 years ago, but still fairly recent in thinking of really how things have changed. And a lot has changed, and of course there's still room for more.
Yeah.
But it's...
I mean, if you look up the history of Forsyth County, it's insane.
Yeah, especially
literally type in Forsyth County Oprah, and you'll see some crazy stuff. Right. So it wasn't the most diverse over here. And like I had, my grandfather I miss him to death. I mean, he was really like the head of the whole family. I have so many aunts and uncles, and I grew up like surrounded by my family and like in Mexican culture and speaking, but I lost a lot of it just going to school. And so when I got older, my grandfather had passed away. My family didn't really have those restaurants anymore. I found myself really disconnected. And I found myself really struggling to speak Spanish, even though...
Now your family speaks Spanish.
Right. My mom doesn't speak English. But my dad does.
Wow. Oh, they don't speak any English at all?
My dad does.
Your dad
but my
does,
mom
okay.
does not. No, she doesn't speak any English. And my dad would always answer me in English. And so...
Oh, yeah.
My way of trying to, one, better my Spanish, because there's a no sabo kid stereotype. A no sabo is a word that people use for kids who were born of Mexican immigrants but grew up here and know no Spanish. And it's like looked down upon, right? And I have my own opinions on that. But mariachi music was like the first time in a very long time, because my grandfather was a mariachi in his young days, and then growing around the restaurants and everything, and then the restaurants were here anymore. I really felt this disconnect. I felt like I didn't have community anymore. And so when I started the mariachi band here, and I was finally amongst my people again, because when I was going to these shows, the alternative scene and metal scene, it was very white. They were not. It was very gatekeepy. Like, not only white, but I'm also a femme presenting person, and like, there's still BS that happens with that. Like crowd killers seeking out femme people just to mess with them.
No, I definitely.
And so, when I started reconnecting with my culture and speaking more Spanish, and I really, me ponen a estudiar to make sure I can speak it well, and stuff, and I knew that I wanted to incorporate my culture into what MUELAS would be. One, because growing up, I didn't see people like me in these bands. I didn't. Like, the first notable band that I knew of was Pierce the Veil. And that to me was really cool, And granted, at that time, I didn't know that there was other bands like Los Crudos and like all these really cool punk bands back in Mexico, because I grew up here. Like, I would spend summers in Tamaulipas, Mexico, because that's where my family's from. But I would spend the majority of my time here. And so once COVID hit, I feel like all of us had a chance to sit and really ponder and think about what we want to do for the rest of our lives. And during that time, I said, I definitely want to do this, but I want it to be how I want to do it. And when I started going to shows again in 2022, I went to 80 shows.
Wow.
That's why I was side-eyeing you when Sally said you did.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
I will go.
Going to shows in itself can be really hard right now, especially because of the state of the economy, and we're under capitalism. It's really hard to be like find time to even just be a person, because we're all just bogged down with work trying to survive. So I get it, When I went to those shows, that really was like, since COVID, I saw this huge like resurgence of not only really dope bands, but bands with POC in them.
Yeah.
I started seeing so many bands with like Hispanic kids in them. And like, I was like, dude, this is just freaking cool. Like in Texas, I mean, there's this whole thing of like Latinos run hardcore. And like, really, the alternative scene in Mexico is freaking huge. There's bands that wouldn't really tour, like Rammstein, that German metal band, right?
Right.
They would constantly tour Mexico and would barely hit the US. Like the
That's
scene
interesting.
down there was like huge. Like I remember being in middle school and I thought I was so cool because I had my Evanescence shirt. And then I went to Tamaulipas and this it was a smaller town back then. It was Ciudad Mante. And there was a guy wearing an Evanescence shirt. And there was like a small little punk shop in this town. And I was like,
What?
this is
What?
so sick.
This
Like
has been-
I got like little studded like sweatbands from that shop. And I got these like little fingerless gloves that I still wear. And they have skeletons.
It's like I didn't even know this was here. You know, I was like, what the heck?
And so when I saw these really cool bands like popping up, and I was like, the diversity in them was really freaking cool. I knew that one, as a front person, you have a platform, and with that platform, it really, really kind of comes down to what you want to put out there. And I wanted to put, especially with what's going on, like I'm Mexican American and freaking proud about it. And I'm always going to be extremely proud about my Mexican culture and being Hispanic and Latino. And I think right now more than ever, it's important. It's important,
Right.
especially because of the erasure that's trying to happen. And so
Right.
I really wanted to incorporate Spanish into it, not only because it's so personable to me, but also because of the message behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
And and this has been something with the United States, especially for a long time, is you have such a, obviously there's more dominant culture, obviously in the United States, but there's still, even amongst white people, there's a kind of culture fight, I guess, for which kind of culture is gonna kind of come out ahead. Like, which one are we gonna highlight more? Are we gonna go off
Yeah.
of more Irish, German, Italian? I mean, African American or African, Hispanic. Like, there's all these different and
Yeah.
it's like these are good ways that we can kind of show them in such a battle for culture, but also find how we can kind of work together, live simultaneously with different cultures.
Yeah.
And then not just be a massive culture battle, a massive culture civil war in the United States 24/7.
And also
right?
too, like a lot of people forget that like punk rock and rock, it came from Black culture. Like it comes from POC. And it just over time really, I don't want to say like, what's the word? Not overtaken, but it was really interesting that it really started from POC people. And then the face of it was white. And so, yeah, I really wanted to, and I'm not the only one doing it. I do want to preface
Right.
that. We've been very, 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 like, it's been amazing, the reception, you know, and I've seen, you know, a lot of people say the word bilingual hardcore. I'm like, this is just us. Like a lot
Yeah.
of people, there's a lot of Hispanic.
Many people speak different languages.
Different languages, you know. It doesn't make us special. It's just a part of who we are.
Right.
You know, it doesn't
Absolutely.
make us unique or anything. It's just a part of who we are.
Yeah.
And I think that's freaking cool.
If anything, I find the fact that you guys play violin way more like wild, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Way more like, oh, that's unexpected. You know, I'm not gonna like look at a hardcore band and be like, there's somebody who is Hispanic leading the front of the band.
Like, what?
What?
And there is this really cool band that I really, really love. And I don't know if I can say their name because it's inappropriate, but I'll say it anyways. And then you guys can cut it if you want. Mannequin Pussy.
That
Their,
slides.
their front person, Missy, oh my gosh. They're one of my favorite bands ever. And honestly, one of the big inspirations behind me wanting to do this. And in their romantic album, there is a song where Missy is screaming in Spanish. And I was like, huh? Like I didn't it caught me off guard. And I was like, oh hell yeah. And when I saw them live, I remember the first time I saw them live before they blew up. This was in 2021. I wanted to see them in like 2019 because they had just released Patience.
Right.
But I wasn't able to make it to the show. So I had to wait till after COVID. And there wasn't that many people. There was like maybe 60 people, 50 40-ish people. It was at aisle 5. And when that song came on, I was like one of the only people screaming those Spanish lyrics back. And that to me felt so special.
Yeah.
And I love seeing vocalists where, like, again, it's not like the thing that sets you apart. It's just a part of who they are.
Well, I think if you're not being who you are as an artist, then you're not really properly pursuing your art, I would say.
And I've had many like MUELAS, I'm the only Hispanic in the band. And for a long time, I was like, oh, I really want an all Hispanic band. And it just didn't manifest like that. It just didn't happen like that. And when Chris came in and James all approached me and were basically a band already.
Right.
They all had, because like just starting a band can be really hard, especially when you're older. You got to find time. You need people who are committed to showing up to practice and like doing shows and like pushing it. Because like, man, like you just see bands releasing music. There's so much work that goes into that.
Right.
And so it was a perfect opportunity to like start it. And I told them what my message was behind, and they said, well, we want to help amplify your voice and what your message wants to be. And so, yeah, like that there's so many, I could talk days about all these really cool bands, but
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just been really, really cool. And all the people I've met, like coming to our shows, like in particular, like my Hispanic community coming out to our shows, like it brings a tear to my eye. It really does. Like
you don't feel like a black sheep, I guess, in that community.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Like I look in the audience and I'm like, oh, I see my people. Like it's just so freaking cool. And like I've had so many people come up, and like my friend Bruno, who I haven't seen in a long time, he was in the band called Iris, and they had a Kerrang like article about them and everything. And then COVID hit, and like COVID really stopped a bunch of stuff.
Right.
But like Bruno came to my show, and I hadn't seen him in forever. And when he was in Texas, he got this Metallica sticker, but it says Mexicana.
That's awesome.
But in the Metallica
Did anybody
font.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's on my violin case. So whenever I go to shows,
sick.
like it's on my violin case. He came up and like he gave me the biggest hug, and he was just like, "You don't know how important this is right now." Like. And he was just, everyone's been giving me so many flowers, and I don't feel like I deserve them, and it's just cool. So it clearly makes an impact. And I just think that's rad. Because again, I've said this since the start when we started this band. I just want to scream about my feelings, and I got a lot of feelings. Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Can we bring it to one part that we thought was particularly interesting?
Yeah.
When we were looking into you. We noticed that a lot of you guys' promotional content featured teeth. Now, I see you laugh because I was curious as to what you would think.
Yeah.
Is there a particular reason why teeth? Is it just kind of like, we just think it's funny? Or is there some sort of subliminal message maybe you put in there?
It's layered.
Whose teeth is it?
Mine. I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I was like...
It's layered. Some is funny, some is intentional.
Okay.
When we were coming up with the band name, I had mentioned how like there is like some previous iterations of it where like I kind of tried, but it kind of fell through. And I wanted the band name to be Chula, which means sweetheart. Oh. And it was just because, it's a very, very popular term of endearment that you hear all the time. And when I was working at the restaurant, like, I was a young kid. Like I started working when I was 14.
Yeah.
And like all of them treated me like a daughter. They'd be like Chulita or Chula, ¿cómo estás? And so I was like, that'd be a cool name for a heavy band, Chula. Sweetheart.
Yeah.
But I quickly, when you're coming up with a band name, yes, analytics matter, and we realized that there was like 30 million artists named Chula, obviously, because it's really popular.
Yeah.
And so Cayman had kind of thrown around some ideas, and I didn't realize how hard it would be to come up with a band name.
Oh, yeah. It is hard, yeah.
But I, funny enough, had just had a dentist appointment.
Oh, okay.
And I knew that I need my wisdom teeth out, but they're not bugging me. But I've been prolonging it because I'm scared.
Wait, you're currently prolonging it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, I thought I was prolonging it.
My bottom wisdom teeth are growing straight out.
Oh, mine too.
Like they're just like straight, like.
But they
they're,
don't. I don't hurt.
Like
They don't hurt.
this way, right? They don't. And
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah.
and Cayman had said, "What about Glass Smile?" And that ended up becoming the title of our debut single, right?
Yes.
And I was like, I don't know, but I won't get too into detail, but basically, I'm a big believer that, like, if you talk too much shit, you're going to rot from the inside out.
Right.
And what is our most communicative vessel of how we express ourselves? Our mouth. And teeth are so visceral. Like, one of the most popular nightmares that people have in the world are their teeth falling out. And it's usually from like people being stressed out or they're going through something really, it's a very common nightmare to have. And for me, teeth are just, they're weird. There's these little bones sticking out of our jaw.
Yeah.
Like, what? You
Way
know?
to like crush stuff. And
Right. And my teeth are super crooked. I got little fangs. I got a snaggle tooth, you know, and I like it.
Yeah.
And so when Cayman said Glass Smile, it started like doing something. And there is particular instances in my life where people have not been so kind. And in particular, there's someone who really was the embodiment of like rotting from the inside out, from just how awful they were, you know? And when Cayman kind of threw this around, I jokingly said, "Oh, what about molars?" And Cayman was like, "Well," and then I went, "Wait, muelas. Like muelas del juicio." Like,
that sounds more pretty. Than,
right? I was like, "Wait, I like that." I was
Yeah.
like, "Wait, that's," and so, because my mom literally was just talking to me about these muelas.
Yeah, because she
And
only
so,
speaks Spanish.
you know,
That's even
and
weird.
so I was like, "Wait, that's kind of cool." And so when I presented it to the band, they were like, "Run it. That's sick. I like it. Teeth is weird." And we wanted something kind of gross and, you know?
Right.
And, but yeah, like the funny side of it is, yeah, I need my wisdom teeth out.
I don't think you can anymore. I think it's too
know.
late. Yeah.
I don't know. If they grow into my brain, that's fine. It's already messed up.
Influence
I
the
wanted,
music.
you know, I wanted my wisdom teeth out, but also like, it's a very visceral thing. And, you know, this really is like your vessel of the best way you communicate. And if you're just an awful person, your teeth are going to rot out.
That's a great metaphor. Well, you brought this up, and I thought this is a very interesting thing that's happening for you guys. You guys are going to be in a movie, perhaps on the big screen.
Yeah.
So tell us about, and it comes out tomorrow, March 2nd. So this has already come out. So go check it out because it's already out. But how did you get this? How did you get this opportunity? It's clearly a collaborative effort. How was it put together? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I would love to talk about it. So it's called Standard Selects, the movie. And we were reached out to by Asia. And Asia is a part of Mainline Atlanta. And if you don't know Mainline is an integral part of independent journalism in Atlanta. Mainline are actually the ones who broke the story about Cop City when it first happened. They were the ones who broke it. And so when Asia reached out, you know, Cayman and James live in the city of Atlanta. I'm OTP. They were like immediately like, "Y'all, Mainline just hit us up." And I was like, "What? It's crazy. Like, what?"
Yeah.
And Asia had become a big fan. So we opened up for Upchuck at the Goat Farm, which is insane, by the way, for us to just start.
Yeah.
And then opening up for Upchuck. What? Like, Upchuck's...
yeah.
Yeah. We were honored, one, that they even knew who my little rinky-dinky band is. But, like, KT came out to a show and was like, "I keep hearing about y'all. I want, let's play a show." And it ended up happening. And so that's how Asia found us. And so Asia and Standard Electric Recording, they used to do these like live performances and interviews with bands. I think it was before COVID. And then it just kind of like, you know, sizzled out a little bit. And they're going to bring it back. And it's called Standard Selects. And so the independent film is sort of like a collab of a series of live performances and interviews from bands notable in Atlanta. Not just notable, but like bands that are really kind of like snapshots of the Atlanta music scene.
Mm-hmm.
And they had one spot left, and Asia really was like, I want MUELAS on it.
Wow.
And we were like, what in the world? Because like Upchuck's
Sure, why
on
not?
it.
Yeah, like-
right? Because like, you know, Upchuck's on it, and like Small as the band's on it. We were just like, are we worthy? Like,
Sure, you sure about that? Yeah.
right? And I mean, we were not gonna say no. Like that's
course not,
so
yeah.
cool. And so they had us out at Standard Electric to record the live session. It was really cool. It was like Audio Tree style, like KEXP style. And then they filmed our interview after.
Wow.
And the interview is very heavy on just Atlanta community music and also the political activism in Atlanta. Because MUELAS is not only, you know, I'm screwing about my feelings, but we are a very political band on top of it. And it was perfect for us. That way we could talk about our single Melt, which is a anti-ICE song. And that single blew up on TikTok. And there's been a lot of people who have really resonated with my message, especially with seeing people like me, seeing people who look like my dad being kidnapped off the street. And so it was really centered around that. And they were really interested in hearing our voice and our perspective, especially because we were newer on the scene. And we've done, I'm very proud to say that we've done some great donations for we did some donations for GLAR, and that was at our first show. And then since then we have a donation box every show. It's for the Latino Community Fund, LCF. My friend Amanda works for them, and that's how we got connected, because I knew that on top of whatever message I wanted to bring out there, I wanted to be a part in helping organizations, because it's really important right now. And then we just got together, and Asia did this great story together, and now it's coming out tomorrow, and we're like, what happened?
Yeah.
Because we recorded it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2.5 weeks ago. And so it's exciting. So it's
It
going
is
to be
exciting, absolutely.
premiering at the Plaza Theater.
Oh, and you're going to that tomorrow night? Mm-hmm. Wow, that's awesome.
7:30. Super excited. And but yeah, that's how that happened.
That's awesome. And what is this gonna be on YouTube, you think, or?
Yeah, they're gonna slowly release different sessions throughout the course, because they're gonna start the series back up. So look on
Okay.
Instagram, mainline Instagram, and Standard Electric on Instagram too. Yeah, but
And y'all look at it too.
but yeah, we have that, and then we've got some crazy stuff coming up. I don't know if we have time for me to shout out some quick shows.
No, we're literally right into our final question.
Awesome.
So feel free. Disclaimer if you want to shout out some.
Cool. Let me make sure I have
Was this your alarm?
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's something. Yeah.
So yeah, we have some cool shows coming up on March 8th, which I don't know if it'll be out by now, but we're opening up for Palaces and Leaf Blower. It's Palaces' album release.
Okay.
We were supposed to play with them in January at Boggs, but it got rescheduled because of the weather.
Yeah,
But
stupid
this is the
January.
reschedule. So it's on the 8th at Boggs. We're also going to be opening up Back to Earth. We're playing with Back to Earth, Frigga 5, and our friends in Apostle on March 23rd at the Masquerade.
That's the day of this. That's the day of this upload. So.
Oh my God!
That'll be good. That'll be good
There
timing.
you go,
Yeah, there you go.
It's being announced tomorrow. Well, today is the day. You know what I mean.
Right. Absolutely.
We're also doing Little Five Fest.
Oh, okay.
Super excited to be doing that.
absolutely.
So we're going on around, I think, 4:30.
Okay.
But lots of dope bands. Tunnels is on it. Big Yellow is on it. Please come out. No calls to action. Sorry. But if you want to come out, if you want to come out, it's a really great way to support the music scene here in Atlanta. We've got some other shows coming up. They're not quite ready to announce, but we're finally playing Chattanooga. I have such a
The city of
special-
Chattanooga? Right,
Yes. Chattanooga is so cool. I
Chattanooga.
really
It's so tiny.
Man, y'all scene is insane. I've been to a couple shows up there, their hardcore shows.
Really?
They pop off. They pop off. Listen, Chattanooga is where it's at. I saw a really cool show with I believe it was Gum and Drug Church in a church. It was sick. And like Dry Church, they're pretty big now too. They're they're one of my favorite bands too. And so that was really cool. But we're playing there on April 26th at the Boneyard.
That's right before my birthday.
Come out. Finally, come out to a show.
I love the Chattanooga, so I do love Chattanooga.
And it's going to be a benefit show for an organization. They haven't chosen which one yet, but it will be an organization that helps with immigration. And then this is my first time announcing it, but we are touring Europe in May.
What? Okay, cool. Man.
I know. So this has been in the works for a little bit now. We got hit up by Ilter Fest. It's a DIY hardcore heavy fest in Denmark.
Wow,
and
that's crazy.
We came across their TikTok and they hit us up and they were like, "Hey, we know you guys are like just starting out. This is kind of crazy, but really love your band. Like, if you guys, I don't know if you want to, but we have this festival in May," and this was like almost a year ago.
Y'all like just started.
Yeah,
what?
Just started, and they were like, "We'll do what we can to get you out here if you guys want to come." And like, I looked at my bandmates and I was like, "Are we really about to tour Europe before we do an America tour?"
Yeah.
And came and was like, "I don't care. I want to do it."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. He's like, I want to do it. And we were like so down. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Yes.
Have y'all even made an Instagram post yet?
No. This is the first time I'm announcing it. So,
I mean, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're playing Denmark.
Well, congrats. Let's give like a little round of
thank
applause
you.
to that. Gosh.
I appreciate it. That's on the 22nd of May.
Okay.
And then we just confirmed a show in Copenhagen on the 21st. And
That's
so
crazy.
We've got another one hopefully in the works.
Oh, that's kind of a huge for you guys.
We have a fan out in Belfast that has kind of reached out a couple of times, like, "Yo, can I get merch?" Or, "Hey,
That's
if
crazy.
you want to come over here." And I'm trying to see if there's a way to maybe pop over to Belfast, but we'll see. And then there's, like I said, there's a couple of other stuff, but they're not quite ready to announce. Lastly, I'll leave is we just got our masters for our EP. Our first EP.
Nice.
And we'll be filming a music video for that very soon. I'll be filming it our own.
Sweet.
Our own one. And so that'll be in the next couple of months. We get to finally release it because people keep asking and I'm nervous about it, but I'm excited.
That sounds great. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for coming out.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it. I know this wasn't really a far drive for you.
Yeah.
But really appreciate it. Great episode. You had a lot of great things to say. It was an easy job for me today. Very easy. I didn't have to work very hard. Thank you guys so much for listening to the episode of the podcast. If you guys like to find any links, check the link in the bio. Look at the Creators Table podcast wherever you listen to podcasts or on YouTube. And look at the band MUELAS on Instagram or wherever you listen to music. Other than that, have a great day. Bye. I wonder who's getting this one. Sorry, I would call them out if I could. Maybe Valina. Maybe Valina. I hope it's Valina. I'm sorry.